Today's talk is called How You Can Move Beyond Your Circumstances. And as always, I've got a couple of quotes to begin. All by Dr. Ernest Holmes, because he had a lot to say about this particular subject. So we're going to be doing more quotes than usual, but only 3 at the beginning. We must see beyond the appearance to that which is basically perfect. The next Holmes quote. And he, by the way, Dr. Ernest Holmes is the founder of Science of Mind and wrote this incredible book called The Science of Mind. That's what you'd expect. Second quote. It is the law that the person who sees what he or she wants to see, regardless of what appears, will someday experience in the outer what he or she has so faithfully seen in within. And lastly, it is not easy, is it, to turn from a disease and know that there is no disease when we know very well that it is an experience of the moment. This is not easy, but the one who can do just this can heal. And so it is easy to hear in this last quote denial, but he is not talking about denial. Let me say that again. Dr. Holmes is not talking about denial. There are those in our movement who believe that turning away from the condition is the way to go, but I don't believe that's what he meant. Turning away can leave you blind, but when we embrace our circumstances without buying into the concrete is the way to go. And I don't believe that's, and I think that when we do not buy into the concrete nature of them, but is simply a passing phase, that we have tremendous power to impact. That is the land of so-called miracles. So-called because anything that the normal mind can't explain through logic or science must be called a miracle. But for those of us who have walked this road of consciousness, living for any length of time, we know that what others see as miraculous is simply a full embodiment of a belief that most people can't believe. Like Dr. Holmes says, it is not easy, is it? But the one who can do just this can heal. Again, this is not denial. We're not saying deny the experience. We are saying that there is a greater truth beyond the experience, beyond what we see in physical form. When we can focus on this greater truth and raise our consciousness above the circumstance at hand, transformation and healing occurs. It must, because the law is the law and it works absolutely. What is called for here is an unwavering stance, an embodiment of the truth without a doubt. When somebody with cancer has a healing that cannot be explained medically, it's called a miracle, when in fact it is simply that person embodying a belief that is beyond the race consciousness of what is believed to be possible. Race consciousness once believed that no one could run a mile faster than 4 minutes. The first person to do so was the first person to embody a consciousness that said it was possible. Seeing the truth beyond circumstance, living the truth beyond circumstance, that's what creates embodiment. And in embodying the truth, we are beyond the fact, and in doing so, transform our lives. Dr. Holmes goes on to say, effective treatment must be independent of any existing circumstance whatsoever else. It will never enter the realm of unconditioned causation. Just because something is real in physical form, it can still be transformed the moment we see beyond the condition to the truth. The truth is that everything is made out of God, and anything physical is temporal. Each of us, out of what we embody, creates each moment, the circumstances and conditions of our lives. So by entering treatment and allowing the words and feelings to sink down into what we embody, we shift the physical form in no matter what the form was previously. This is how tumors disappear miraculously. Situations appear, and what others call impossible becomes inevitable. When we treat, it doesn't matter what the physical form is presently. What matters is that we recognize true source, first cause, God, as the only power there is. As such, we become this power, as there is nothing else but this power. The moment we embody the words we speak, that which we speak must, of course, show up. Dr. Holmes goes on to say, mind is individualized, but never individual. This mind, which is universal, will never be any less than universal. It will never be individual, but it can be individualized. There is a great difference. The wave in the ocean will never be a wave by itself. It will be the ocean as a wave. This analogy of the ocean is used time and time again because we have the entire power of the universe within us, so that when we look beyond ourselves, we see the larger self, we see the larger power. If we can remember this when we need it most, then you have opened yourself beyond your limitations into the calm assurance that anything is possible. This is seeing the world through the eyes of truth. Beyond all appearances, our lives work magnificently. In the greater whole, each of us can create anew in each and every moment. A couple of years back, I was living in Cincinnati. I had finished a temporary job I had moved there to do, but had not yet found my next job that I needed to support myself. Money was running short, and I had absolutely no prospects as to what to do next. To be honest, I'd been in this situation before, and in the past had panicked, and in that panic had watched things get worse. In fact, I wound up once homeless for quite a while, and it was horrible. But even with that history, I knew this time not to panic. Not only not to panic, but to stand in a higher truth that my life works magnificently. So of course the next step in my evolution would appear. My job was to hold in my mind, heart, and body and actions that whatever was mine to do next would appear before my money ran out. So the actions I took were to do the affirmational prayer we call in Science of Mind treatment, take walks every day to keep my physical health at its peak, and journal to open to new ideas for what was mine to do next. And most of all, know with every heart of my being that everything works out magnificently. So sure enough, I woke up one day with 2 new ideas that I had never had before as to what to do next. Both excited me to no end, and both broke new ground in our movement. Both I had the confidence that I could accomplish this. One was writing a book called Cliff Notes on the Science of Mind textbook, which the Science of Mind textbook is the Bible of Science of Mind. The other was to create this online center. Within a few days, I excited the minds of other folks who wanted to support me in both ventures, both financially and otherwise. The rest is history. Here we are in the first virtual center for spiritual living holding services, and the next, you can actually purchase my book on Amazon.com. Actually, it's presently being used in over 50 centers towards classes. Neither would have been possible if I hadn't had the wherewithal to stand in the truth beyond my circumstance and simply know that my life works magnificently. Not long past the epiphanies for in the beginning of the work to begin, they came to fruition. I had met Ashley, my new magnificent bride. My life has blossomed beyond my wildest dreams because what's possible when we stand in knowing the truth is that we're powerful, creative, spiritual beings and anything is possible. That we allow ourselves to believe as possible and go about the actions to embody that possibility. I want to say that again to make sure you get it. That when we embody and know and stand in that place of truth that anything is possible, then the job becomes holding that stance in our mind, in our hearts, and taking the actions as if that possibility has already manifested. When we are willing to take that kind of leap, it's inevitable that whatever that is shows up. My personal recommendation when we do spiritual practice is spiritual mind treatment. It's a form of affirmational prayer that reunites me with the One in whatever form you call it and reminds me of the powerful, creative, spiritual being I am. If my bank account is empty, I dive into the knowing that I am abundant. I must be, because this is an abundant universe, and I am one with that universe. If I am experiencing symptoms of any sort, I dive into the knowing that I am whole, healthy, and complete, because how can anything in an ever-expanding universe be otherwise except for the appearance and the meaning I give it? And that meaning is the most important thing. What meaning are you giving the experiences in your life? This makes all the difference when working towards embodying what it is you want to experience and going beyond the experience you're having. Whatever meaning you are giving something, you made up. It's not real. Everyone has the ability to move beyond whatever meaning they have given something. Only the meaning you give it makes something real to that meaning. And the moment you change the meaning you are giving something, you have up-leveled your embodiment to something new. That's when shifts to something new show up in your life. You don't have to believe in what I'm saying. Try it for yourself. Take a circumstance in your life that you don't like or is hard for you. No matter how hard it is, though, if you've never done this before, I would suggest starting with something simple and get the hang of what I'm talking about. Notice the meaning you are giving it. Change that meaning to something that holds that circumstance as impermanent, as temporal, and give it that meaning. Change the meaning to something and then from that point of view, hold a new possibility. Hold a new possibility that you can now imagine in your mind and start to create. Act as if the new possibility exists. Respond to life as if the new possibility that you are holding exists. Develop a spiritual practice to help you hold that stance, whether it be affirmations, walking, yoga, journaling, anything that you can develop or already have developed to help you hold this new stance in life. Try it. It's totally worth your time. Open to the new possibility. Hold the circumstance you want to move beyond as temporal and enjoy the floodgates opening of power that is your birthright to create the miraculous life that is yours. Thank you. I love you.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.